Bring me the remote.
If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would please remain standing just for a few minutes as we remember those that have passed both here and overseas. We especially remember Rosemary Gannon and Helen Koutsaratis and Jason B. Jones. Thank you. I will remain standing because I just feel weird about sitting down while I announce this. And I'd like to thank our, actually I'm going to sit. I'd like to thank our clerk for bringing it up. We have enough bad news during the course of the days. And she brought to our attention some great news. We have a lot of little people coming into the village on a regular, babies being born. But we'd like to welcome Elliot Noah Ringler Smith. Specifically because that is he is the first villager since 2000 that was actually born in the village. It was a plan, it was planned?
Yes.
This was a planned birth, and he was actually born in the village. So I would like to welcome Elliot, and I hope we can make it a great community that he will stay. Great. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. We have some very special guests, and we will identify them as we go through the night. Would ask is, before we do public comment, John Dodson traveled to DC for the village to gather information on several different programs that we might be able to capitalize on. And he is here tonight to give us a briefing as well as the community. John?
Thank you, Mayor. I won't give you a full briefing tonight, but I wanted to just give you a quick overview of what happened, because it was as I suspected it might be, a very valuable meeting for us. The American Defense Communities Group is a nationwide collection of all the communities who have military bases right next to them. And there are some special problems and opportunities that go with having a military base next to you. We're a little bit unique in that it wraps all the way around us. Quantico is so much similar to us, so we are almost contained by the military base. So the military base itself knows a lot of these programs, but it doesn't keep up with all of them. It has its own business primarily to train and instruct the Corps of Cadets so that they have good officers. So they tell us what comes up and what they happen to think is pertinent. But there are other things that are available and that perhaps could be done and should be done that we're unaware of unless we're in touch with other people like ourselves. So the idea was to connect with these other communities, and they have a number of all the attorneys that deal with these matters, the privatization programs. They also have all the vendors that support it, and all the government people that have the actual, from the Pentagon and from the Air Force and from the Navy, because all branches of the service are represented. So I thought it was really important this year because of all our interactions. There are two primary areas that I've been, as your engineer for special projects, the mayor has asked me to look into two primary areas. One is our wastewater plant. Our plant is actually in the best shape it's been in a long time. We had some real good support from our engineers, and we got some money from the Sandy storm, and they did the right thing. So I'm very happy to report that we're up to snuff and we have excess capacity, but that creates an opportunity. West Point is not in good shape. A lot of people don't know this. They actually have exceeded their capacity. The plant was built before I was a cadet. I remember coming in, it was brand new. That was a long time ago, about 1,000 years. And they have now not only exceeded their capacity, but have a number of problems internally. So that has presented an opportunity for us, and we have excess capacity. We overbuilt ours back during the days when Jimmy Wyatt was here, they got enough money to build a little bit larger than they needed. So we have extra capacity. Not enough to handle all of what they need, but they're actually releasing, at times, raw sewage into our precious river out here. And that is causing some problems. The DEC knows about it, but they don't have jurisdiction over federal enclave. So one of the ways they've tried to go through privatizing that, we because we have this proximity, are eligible for a new program that was just created about a year and a half ago, called Section 331 Authority. And that gives us the ability as a host community to be able to make an arrangement with the federal government without going through all the procurement privatization process. Some of you may know that takes 2 or 3 years. They've done it twice. Each time there was a problem at the end. West Point's a very special part of the Army. They do things nobody else does, and it didn't go through. So now, Colonel Rideout called me last spring and said, John, will you look into this and maybe we can find some way the village could help. The mayor was very happy to endorse that. So I did, and the people who handle this in the Pentagon have to be a guy by the name of Ivan Bolden. And Ivan is a high-level undersecretary who does privatization and all of the partnerships that they form with local communities. So he was the right guy. I spoke to him last year. I never actually met the man. He was at this conference. And I was able to approach him. We actually had a cocktail together at the end of the day. And he was interested in helping us. And he's coming up here. Okay? And he'll be here next week, as a matter of fact, which is pretty unusual. So we're going to try to arrange to have a meeting with the mayor and told him that we would certainly like to help. So that's sort of where that stands. It's a very good thing that we went. But there were other programs, I just want to mention this, programs where they have medical partnerships, where the hospitals and the ambulance corps combine, where the fire departments work together. Most of the Army is really hurting for money right now, and then one of the ways they can make that up is by working with their local community. You know, it's just more efficient. If you can combine forces, you can, if you really work at it, you can do very well. So there were a world of stories, and I heard some good colonels that had done things at Fort Bragg, at Fort Benning, with their local communities, and they work closely with them. So West Point's never had to really, and we, depending on the personnel that's involved, we have an opportunity perhaps now that's better than has been in the past. So that's number one. I'm going to follow through with that, and I'll tell you a little more detail of the actual places I went, the different sessions that I attended. Perhaps I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about that. The other thing I want to mention, and this is entirely separate, but it happens to coincide with this. The other thing West Point wants to do, they need more electricity. They're short. They are growing. The women are there now, and they need air-conditioned buildings that they didn't worry about air conditioning before. And they have a much larger load than they had before. And that translates, if they start air conditioning all their buildings, into a bigger requirement. So Warren has been asked to come up with another 30 megawatts, which is a lot of power. Our whole town probably takes 10, 12 megawatts. West Point used to do 10 or 12, they're probably up to 20 now. They have therefore petitioned to do that. At the same time, they were chosen as one of the 6 zero energy bases in the United States. Out of 200 bases, they had the clout and they got it. They haven't been able to do much with that. That means they should be doing solar and wind and geothermal and all that good stuff. But West Point got a lot of other things to worry about, and they haven't gotten around to doing a lot. We could help them do that. And one of the reasons we could help them is because the New York State program, this is the last thing I'll talk about, but it's very important for us to be aware of it. It's something called the REV, the Reformed Energy Vision. You may have heard about it, maybe not, but it's a big deal. It's the new head of the Public Service Commission, Audrey Zibelman's a lady lawyer. She was chosen by the energy czar that the governor chose, and the governor has political ambitions, and energy is one of his things. So they formed a very strong movement, and they had 350 people up in Albany. I went to the meeting. They want to build solar, wind in the communities and create community microgrids, and pass the regulatory authority that will require the utilities to take the power back that's extra. How far are they going to get on this? Utilities are not going to like it. I mean, we're taking bread out of their mouths, but they want to turn the utilities into a program provider, a platform provider of distributed services, which means the utilities would get the power there, but you would have somebody else that would help you with your solar, wind, whatever. So this program in New York is coinciding with, they can help us, they can't help West Point. But if they helped us first, then we could reach into West Point and help them with their problem. And we could perhaps gain, and not only form a closer association, but actually reduce some of our own costs and get lower costs for our local community. So those are two big areas that I think it's important, it was worth the time to spend on. And I probably said a little bit more than I intended to, but you have an idea what we have available to us. My voice is not real good, I have a flu, but I'm just about over it, so don't worry. Hopefully, I'll be back with a little bit more information later. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Public comment? No public comment? Treasurer, fire.
No.
Yeah, public comment.
Oh, public comments?
Come on, you gotta help me out here. I'm gonna go once,
Public
twice, three
comment.
calls a lady.
Public comment on.
Come on up,
on
my
what?
friend.
I
favor,
know John,
stand right
I know
over here.
John has done a lot of research, but I'm a little concerned
And
with,
do me a favor, just
my name's
Make
Paul
sure-
Yale, by the way.
put face the camera so you can hear you.
Okay.
We're with you, Bob's good.
With John's thing, I was just wondering what the expectancy of our sewer grid would be if we help West Point out. Does it shorten our lifespan? How much? And what would be the final cost?
Right, the whole purpose of the combining is to make money for this community, not to spend it. So as John said, our sewer right now, because of what happened through the storms, we've had a lot of upgrades, is in good condition, very good condition, particularly compared to others. But there would be no cost to this community, we would endure no cost on upgrading the plant to meet the needs of West Point. What we're looking for is we have a decent amount of capacity. We would upgrade it, but through the companies that participate in the upgrade, they would handle the burden of the money. Then they would take out of that the money we make from West Point for servicing their sewer. So we are not looking to do this just as a friendship deal with West Point. We're looking to do this as, yes, we're gonna help West Point, but we're gonna make money on the fact that we're going to take on this responsibility. That, we couldn't do it just to help West Point. I would never allow that to burden taxpayers. So the only way this will go down is that the proper money is gonna be made by the community through the sewer.
Long term. If our sewer plant is good for 30 years, for what we have now, and if West Point gets involved and it cuts it down to 15 years.
I don't think that that's what happens. You're just treating more sewage and more chemicals going in and different process that costs more money, which would be funded by the person who's West Point. And it's just,
The other thing is, and I apologize,
That's right.
the other thing is what we've done at the plant is mainly replace older pieces that failed because of the hurricanes. With the new project, we're looking at upgrading the plant entirely. There's a lot of new technology out there that it doesn't pay for us right now to install into the plant, depending on the payback to the community. But if we did this bigger project, which again, the cost will be burdened by the companies doing the project, not by us, it'd be a separate entity. And by doing that, we can capture a lot more of the newer technology, a lot more efficient technology. So we would actually be processing the sewage more effectively than we are now. The other piece is, as John mentioned, and it's not because they want to, it's just because it's the way it is, and there is no money right now to fix a sewer. Heavy rains and other times, West Point is periodically having to dump a lot into the Hudson. Now, even though it goes both ways, the river, the majority of it comes our way. So by assisting and by getting it done, that sewage that is kind of flowing right into our backyard, hopefully we will stop happening, which is That to me, it's a big piece, but unfortunately for me, when it comes down to it, it's the money piece. And the projects that have been, that we're looking at is about making money while utilizing our existing sewer plant.
Okay, and along with that, additional personnel or not may be required?
Expand the plant, I think they're fully staffed now. I think that, and there's additional capacity that we could use now. I mean, we're not a rated capacity, by my imagination. We could take additional sewage now, but if they're talking about taking Boulder needs, and I don't know how many millions of gallons a day, they're talking a couple, John?
We need to take an initial amount with our present capacity to reduce their problem, dump it,
When they don't.
and then build a new plant, really, next to the one we got now that would handle their future, our future and their present requirements. It'd be a big plant, that would be a big job. But that would be financed with, like you say, out of the service fees, most of which we paid with West Point. And our people would be running, or the people that would run one plant would, we're thinking the best place to locate it. When you're doing wastewater, you want as low as possible. There's not much land low in our community.
It's a tight spot.
What I'm gonna do though is, this is something that it's in the works. Nothing, not a dime's been spent, we're not, this is something that I believe is a good thing. Other people that are looking at it's a good thing. When we have more information and your comments or questions are, it's what we want. We want people to be informed, we want people to know what's going on. But we're not spending a dime before we inform the public of the possibilities. And that's not to say it will happen. This community might say, we don't wanna do it. And that's who we work for. So we're not here to force anything down the community's throat. This is another opportunity that we can claim a nice piece of change for years to come.
I was just thinking long-term, whether
Right.
it's gonna, infringe on us in the future.
Right, well, and that's gonna be the job of the people putting it together, because those questions have been asked. What happens 20 years down the road when more stuff has to be replaced? That's what the group will be putting together when they present it to the village, as far as, yes, 10 years down the road, 20 or 50 years down the road, what happens? And that's why the cost will be adjusted to meet those needs.
Thank
Who
you.
writes the
No, thank
insurance
you.
on that? Who guarantees us that what happened to our
That's all part of
school
the, that's all
system?
part of the piece that they're putting together.
Like I'm saying, are we starting with the way we are with our school, that, it started out good, it looked great, it was polished, then all of a sudden, we start to lose all the revenue?
No,
You know?
there'll be an actual, there's several different possibilities that they're gonna work for running it. But again, this is in the pre-infant stages.
Do they need us now?
Right, well, the thing is that the reason why, we've actually been looking into this for over a year. But the only reason why John is making this push and making these reports is because now the rest of the country is looking at it, next to these bases and next to everything else. And it's not that they already have been looking at it, now they're making a much bigger push for, hey, we'll help you out if you can help us out. The biggest thing now is to have the people in charge, they're gonna say, we'll help you out, how much are you gonna help us out?
Does that mean that maybe some of the entities that have been going on over there for 20 years would maybe shut down, and then that would be more revenue for our town, and then maybe they wouldn't need so much water?
That's
Does any of that?
well,
came up?
sewer, and that's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's a lot.
That's exactly what we're talking about. It is a lot, and it could be a lot of revenue for the community.
So if, in other words, if we weren't competing with so many of the businesses that are doubled in there versus here,
Total nother topic,
well, it has to all,
and
how
I
many
agree,
times they flush their
that is
toilets
a
over
topic
there?
that needs to be brought up.
Absolutely.
And it has been in talks for the last 6 to 8 months between Charlie, myself.
Because I know they're wanting to put a catering hall in, and I mean, that's, of course, is a bigger entity, that's more, for revenue for them, it's more, parties and so on and so forth. I'm just saying, like, that's a big thing. I'm wondering if there's more to it than just that. Like, could we see all of their plan as to what it is they're exactly wanting to build from, and what it is they want to add water to?
In one of their environmental assessment forms, they actually had a very interesting laundry list of all of their projects. It went on for 3 pages.
Was it over the top?
They would like a lot.
Was it a lot? I mean, was it anything that, we could
Well,
help them
they
out with?
included building a new sewer plant in exactly the same place as the one that floods out.
I wonder if we couldn't put a few businesses out here instead of adding to their list.
Well, that is a whole nother thing as far as the economic development team and the two business communities that we're forming now. That really is more on us. As much as once or twice they've put up competing, and that's gonna be the board's job, is dealing with the fact that they have competing businesses that don't pay taxes and things like that. And we are working, and I believe that they're more receptive than ever as far as understanding what's going on. And the gentleman that John just brought up, hopefully we're gonna meet with him, and we're making headway on that. But more importantly, I think we're making even more headway locally, where we realize the problem, we're not afraid to talk about the problem, the empty storefronts, the fact that Main Street is not as brilliant and bright as it used to be 25 years ago. So the fact that we're even talking about it is more than before. Now, we've talked about it, we have a Main Street committee that's trying to deal with it, we have an economic committee that's working on bringing more people in, marketing this community. That's gonna be the key. So we just can't continue to say, why are they always hurting us? Because they're running their day-to-day business, they just have a lot more people to do it. We have to get on our horse and really drive this, and I have to say, over the last year, a lot of people are stepping up. People are stepping up as shit, I hate to use the term, hate it. It's gonna take a little time to turn it around, not a 5 to 10 year, but at least a year to 3 years to actually turn it. But I believe with all the people getting involved, that particular point you're talking about as far as business, I think we are, we at least have a handle on it now, and we're slowing the negative impact, and I think we're gonna be moving on a positive impact, and it will be seen on Main Street.
Just one quick example. Probably everyone has heard that they plan to tear down the visitor center and build a new one. Originally, there were plans to put a food court in the new visitor center. The two committees that Pat was just alluding to, we've talked to various people, and the food court is gone. They are not doing a food court, and they want people to cross the street and hit Main Street and utilize the village. Fire?
I don't remember reading about that anywhere. Is that something that was just between different, like there was that?
That was something
was that
that's
a
not
pub-
part of their, any kind of a report they put out. That was in discussions with us when it was mentioned about a food court. In several meetings, we expressed that would be a very negative move for the village, and they responded, and this is, as Charlie said, they actually responded and said, you know what, that's not part of the plan right now, because they realize the negative impact it's gonna make on the village and on Main Street. So there is communication, and we are moving, and it's about, what we're trying to do is get one or two more professionals involved in the process to move it along even more. Charlie just finished up another grant, which will impact Main Street, and I wanna thank her for that, even though we're in a little discussion.
An application, and I did it with Gina. You know, keep your fingers crossed.
Okay, fire.
Fire, I don't have a formal report, but in your remembrances at the top of the meeting, you mentioned Jason Jones. He was captain in Special Forces, a 2007 graduate from West Point. Our fire department will be participating in what's called a patriotic escort. He's being buried at West Point. Yesterday would have been his first wedding anniversary. He was married here. And the Highland Falls Fire Department is honored to participate in that honor guard. And that's it.
Building,
There's no, I don't have a report from the building fund.
sewer,
Sewer. Average volume of wastewater is 1.182 million gallons a day, 5.1 inches of precipitation. Facility met all New York State and city's permit limitations. Elwood Lake Pump Station, Haven Road are checked regularly. 6.85 tons of digested sludge processed through the belt filter press for disposal. Belt filter in operation 9 days. 60.75 cubic foot of grit and screenings removed for disposal by TAM. John Jones performed mandatory testing and EPA quality assurance. Water plant began settling down base and wash down May 7th. No adverse effects on the wastewater treatment facility. Boss construction on site for the digester building roof replacement project, 4 days. Chief Operator John Jones met with Al Fusco Engineering concerning the proposed Old Guard Hotel sewer connection May 7th. Attended the department head meeting in Village Hall on the 13th. Met with Rich Kim, Coaster Associates concerning waste gas burner equipment on the 16th. Repair and maintenance. Secondary clarifier, west half out of service, May 5th. Main drive sprocket broken, parts ordered. Grinder pump, house pumps, Tri-County Electric troubleshoot electrical problems, wiring floats. Pump 1 off, pump 2 operating. Flow meter, ABB Inc. removed faulty equipment and installed new flow transmitter and flow chart recorder totalizer. Influent pumps, Tri-County replaced faulty hour meter and control panel for pump 3. Cleaning, scraping, painting, 9 days. Maintenance, lubrication of pumps, motors, and machinery as required. Maintenance of buildings, grounds as time allowed, 21 days. Man hours lost due to sick, vacation, personal leave, and compensatory time.
Exactly.
2.5 days overall time. Overtime work for a month, 34 schedule hours, 1 emergency hour, 50.7 gallons of gas used. That's it.
All right.
Can I say this?
Of course you can.
I've been noticing, as we all have heard, that the sewer plant is running very efficiently. And the reason so, we never give credit to who credit is due for doing so. So tonight, I would like to give credit to Chief Operator John Jones and his men for keeping the plant running as efficient as it is. And we get very good DEC reports. Some of the contractors that's been down there say they've never seen a plant as old as this plant running as good and as clean as it is to be a sewer plant. So once more, I'd like to give credit to Chief John Jones for a good job that him and his men are doing. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right. Mayor's report. Just want to say hello to the boys at home. I would also like to welcome Oliver Odell, I have to, and congratulate Jason and Kristen on their newborn boy. Now, very fun. I would like to welcome up a young lady. Approximately week and a half ago, there was a ceremony at O'Neill. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to make it out from back there. You're gonna have to, come on up. This young lady was honored at the ceremony, and I thought the participants were mainly family and a few community residents. That's not good enough. For what Snowdrop Smith does and has done and will do for this community. Come on up here, Snowdrop. That way, I don't want you to stand the whole time. More people need to know. It was covered very well in the paper, but I also wanted the village to recognize the accomplishments and also what her daughter and their family has put forth to encourage more people to be like Snowdrop. I can't give you the history, but her daughter can. If you want to just give us a couple of minutes of brief, because I know I'm messing up, and I know you'll get it right. This is Edwina
Edwina
Aiken and her husband Gene.
My name is Eugene, yes. And this is my lovely mother, Snowdrop Smith. On the occasion of her 90th birthday, we were trying to figure out what to do to honor her, to celebrate, and that was 4 years ago. My mother does a lot of community service. She was active with the Volunteer Ambulance Corps for 20 years. She still regularly volunteers at Castle Point. She's active in her church. So we thought, what better way, you know, you can give her a new dress, you can give her a new piece of jewelry, but what better way than to establish something lasting? We know that our young people are doing wonderful things, and we want to encourage them to continue to do wonderful things and make a difference in their community, like my mother has. So we decided to establish the Snowdrop Smith Community Service Award to encourage and honor our young people, to get involved, be involved, stay involved, do what everybody can do something. And that's basically how this award came about. And we have a couple of the students here this evening. The mayor invited all the students and their families, and it was such a pleasure to meet you and to be able to present the award to you. Some of the students couldn't be here. I know Malik is working, but
We do have a couple of students, and I don't have another award to give you, but I would like you to come up and just be recognized. Sarah Hard is here with us, Lauren Kabilski, and as Edwina said, Malik Johnson, his father, is here. I know everybody hates it. No, walk on up here. The camera doesn't, the back of the heads don't do so well. You know you want to, Matt. Don't even lie to yourself. But and there's a reason. There's a reason you do it once, do it twice, do it as many times as you have to, because the community needs to know everything's not bad. First of all, we have a lot of great things going on in the community, but then they also have to see the examples of these great things. One is right here, who's been an example for more years than half people can count. Okay, and here's the other example, the youth following through, just starting out, and hopefully they will continue in Snowdrop's path. And that's what we're looking for. And I would love to ask, because it wasn't in the budget per se, but if the family wants to, they have a beautiful plaque up at O'Neill with each of the students' names on it throughout the years. And I will be proud to hang one here in the Village Hall to, again, the more people there, it's great because all the students see it and they can be like, that's a really neat thing, I would like to be that person. But I really feel it needs to be out in the community as much as possible. Because the more people see it, the more people will be inspired to do the same thing. And I just, if you could, just give these two young people and this young lady right here a round of applause. And I want to thank you. Yes, sir.
I think it's very important, Mrs. Aiken, that you actually tell everybody about the platter that your mother was awarded, and for actually how many hours that represents.
Yeah.
my mother volunteers with the American Legion Auxiliary, and she recently received an award for 17,500 volunteer hours. At Castle Point. She's at Castle Point 3-4 days a week. She is committed and dedicated to making the lives of veterans better. As an aside, just bear with me for one moment, I just have to tell you, my mother came to West Point in 1940, and that's where she met and married a young Buffalo soldier and started a family. I'm the youngest of three, and you know, but has been in this community most of her adult life and has made it a better community.
I agree.
I would just like to add too, nothing stops her from going to VA night or day. She's always on the road. So sometimes somebody be following behind her.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody because a car's behind you. Well, let them wait, because if they wanted to get there, they should have left on time. She keeps going. So that's wonderful, and I admire her greatly.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I wanted to
And
get
it's
you
nice
out.
to see you again. We're so proud of you.
I was behind what's happening in the
For those that didn't catch it, that award was just for Castle Point, not for all the other volunteering she does. That was just one of the places that she volunteers at. And that's the great part of being able to be up here, is to recognize people like that. I'd also like to recognize at this time Eisenhower Leadership. Eisenhower Leadership has made several donations to the village. Yep, follow me, come on Kev, you're with me. Several donations to different groups in the village, and they have just made another donation to the village in the amount of $1,000. Now, Dr. Nicole Shea couldn't be here tonight. They're 2 doors down at Eisenhower Leadership, and so this is another donation. So they're already up to more than several thousand that they've donated, and they're brand new to the community. One of the other things, and which she's working on, again on her own, bringing it to the community, is an arts walk that they hope to go from Bear Mountain to West Point and come through Fort Montgomery and Highland Falls and have sculptures and pieces of art, just so you see in other communities, and again, bringing another great aspect to the community, taking it up a notch, and I want to thank Eisenhower Leadership for their help. 4th of July Committee. The Independence Day Committee has put together many activities for this year's 4th of July. They've brought back pretty much all past activities and added a few more. It should be a fantastic celebration. They are still looking for participants, as always, in the bed races, the canoe races, and they have several other competitions. Please check the newspaper for all activities, times. There is a lot going on. It is a 7-day celebration, beginning at Bear Mountain, the Friday night before. For those that don't know, and then this is just a standard invite, Bear Mountain always has their fireworks celebration the Friday before the 4th. So that is really the kickoff for our community. So, you know, I'll be up there. I'd love to see other people up there. And then we have many events going on throughout the week. We do still have room. People have been asking. There is room in the parade. If you want to put a float or a walking float or anything else in the parade, there is still room. The Grand Marshals for this year's parade are General Caslin and his wife. So they will be leading the parade for us. And lastly, as I always am, about the money. The local donations have been slow. The committee has reached out to several companies and they've gotten more corporate donations this year, but they are still behind. So locally, if you don't have the letter, if you don't have it, don't worry, you can come right in, drop a check off to Village Hall. If you don't know, Gina's gonna hate me, but you can drop a check off to Village Hall. And make sure you make it out to the Independence Day Committee.
Make it out to the Village of Highland Falls.
Village of Highland Falls, I'm
No.
sorry, and on the note, thank you very much, Mary Jane. Make it out to the Village of Highland Falls, and on the footnote on the bottom, put the Independence Day Committee so they know where the money's going. I would like to thank the staff for taking on that responsibility this year. They've been doing a fantastic job. Flag Day. This past Saturday was Flag Day. It was a great turnout. I need to thank the American Legion. They did a great job again. The Boy Scouts, the Cub Scouts, and the Venturers all came out and participated. And people were dropping flags off as we were packing up. So it was a good day. And I would also like to thank, I didn't write it down, but I will before the end of the meeting. One of our American Legion men wrote a special poem.
Bill Higgins.
Thank you for that. That's why Mary Jane is the goods, I'll tell you right now. I want to thank Bill Higgins. I should have wrote it down, Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins had wrote a special poem just for Flag Day, and it was beautiful. It was read several times during the ceremony, and I believe that really does take it up a notch, and I want to thank him as well. Just a couple more thank yous, and we're going to move on. This past week, Fran and Jerry Galoo and Bill Solon, along with several seniors, did some work over at the Senior Center. Fran is doing an excellent job staying on top of that on a whole bunch of different levels. And so we appreciate the work that she's doing, and of course the board members that are working with her as well. Graduation is the 26th of June. We just want, the board would like to congratulate all graduating seniors from O'Neill and wish you well. Rolling Thunder came through 2 weeks ago. It was a very excellent group. Several different groups stopped and stayed in the village for a period. I just wanted to give the information out to the community. I have been in contact with the new head of Rolling Thunder. There is someone new in charge for the first time this coming year. He has invited me up to talk to Rolling Thunder both before and during the actual run, which I'm excited about. He's actually from Highland Falls. Not now, but he grew up here. He went to O'Neill. He lived behind Sacred Heart. His name's Greg Burns. Very excited to work with us to get more things going. We also, I also appointed a liaison for not just the Rolling Thunder, but for Veterans Affairs to again, make these, whether it's Flag Day, whether it's Veterans Day, Memorial Day, even the 4th of July, to give more emphasis, to give more attention to the people that made a difference for us and why we celebrate those days. And he is also a local, he will be coordinating with Greg, the Rolling Thunder, and several different organizations. And he's very excited. He wants to maybe do a Highland Falls run for a cause, possibly in August. So very excited about that. I also do need to thank the DPW. They've been taking on a lot of different projects. In particular, the lines that have been put out at the stop signs, that they're going to be finishing those up hopefully within, as long as the weather holds out, within a week. I did spend some time to check, and I really believe the lines are making a difference. They're much more visible. They're giving people a little more cause to stop. In particular, on the new stop signs that are up, one being next to my house, I've noticed that for the first couple weeks, very little stopping. But recently, they may be catching it like a, but I believe the white lines are helping. So I want to thank them for their hard work. Discussion. This time, I'd like to invite the Mastriani group to come up. They're going to give us a quick presentation on Section 8. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Jim Mastriani. Our company's Gen 8, Josephine Mastriani Incorporated. It was founded by my father in 1975, and I succeeded him about 8 years ago. We've been working with the village for 10 years, and we administer, our primary function is to administer housing choice voucher programs. We do this in 9 different counties in New York State. We help more than 3,000 families afford safe, sanitary, and decent housing. So the Housing Choice Voucher Program is sponsored by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. It is HUD's major program to help the elderly, the disabled, and low-income families afford safe, sanitary, and decent housing. The way this is done is that a portion of someone's rent and utilities is subsidized by the federal government based upon their income. Currently, right now, there are 65 families participating in the program. There is 38% of those families are elderly or disabled. 55% of those families are working families. And then the remaining 6% are folks who are not working and not elderly and disabled. These would be very low income families. In addition to the Housing Choice Voucher Program, we've started with the village. We started this a couple of years ago. My colleague Nancy Williams here runs it as a family self-sufficiency program. And that lets us work with 25 different families to help them make strides in their life and move from a subsidized existence towards a non-subsidized existence. And we do that by doing one-on-one referrals in the community to assess what their barriers are and then move them towards self-sufficiency by giving them referrals to other human services agencies in the area. We also do budget counseling, we do home ownership counseling, and we do credit counseling as well. That's it in a nutshell. Sir?
Question. Have we had any to, I would call it, graduate from the program, and to become independent on their own? Was that possible?
From the Family Self-Sufficiency Program specifically,
Yes.
we do have people that have graduated. We have a young woman, single-head household with a child who became a homeowner. She actually left the village of Highland Falls and purchased a home in the town of Highland Falls. But working with the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, she was able to, as Jim said, she did debt reduction and credit repair. She was able to qualify for a mortgage. And she was able to then use her voucher towards the payment of a mortgage payment. As her asset base increased and her income increased, she will eventually not need subsidy anymore to be able to become a homeowner independent of subsidy. So that's the kind of success story we have. We have folks that finish the program who still have a portion of their rent subsidized, but the goal of the program is to decrease the amount they depend on subsidy. So it may not be 100% decrease by the time they finish the program. The Family Self-Sufficiency Program is a 5-year contract to start with an additional 2-year contract allowed. During the course of that, we may see families, and we frequently do, that come to us with no income, no employment in the family at all, maybe a mom with young children. Through the process of the 7-year period of working with them, mom may become employed, the children get ready to go off to school, that increases, it frees up some of mom's time, we can connect them with childcare to the extent that it's available, preschool programs, work with mom through that to get her skill set to a place that when she is ready to go back to the workforce, she's able to get a competitive salary position in the workforce. So it's a long-term solution. This is not a quick fix. The federal government, when they designed this program, recognized that it takes a long time to change someone's experience when they're starting from a position of economic poverty. And sometimes a position of social poverty as well. So we really spend a lot of time working with folks to make that connection, to build a network for them. And the term is used frequently, but in our case I think it's really true, a safety net, as it were, for folks as they increase their economic independence. There's always going to be setbacks. It's true with all of us. Something comes up, we need the car, needs repair, the roof needs repair. Our goal is to help folks stabilize through those periods of ups and downs so that their trajectory of increased income can be steadily increasing.
Is this program mandatory?
It is not. And there unfortunately isn't enough funding for the program to be funded to the capacity that we could were it mandatory. That's really the limitation on the program.
How many participants of the 65 are in this program?
25. Yep.
We're a little over 27. We're a
We're
little over
27,
both,
but yeah.
but we shoot for 25.
25
So we
is our
overbooked.
number that we were.
The more the better.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Absolutely. And we know that, not to get too deep into the details, but there's a component called the escrow account. The escrow account is a reflection of earned income since they started in the program. More than 50% of our participants have created an escrow account. So that means that their earned income has increased from when they started in the program to where they are now today. Now, the gentleman to my left is Mr. Greg Gallucci. He's our vice president of the company. He is in charge of all our finances, as well as he oversees all of our inspections. So one of the components of this program is that every unit has to be inspected prior to it entering into the program, and then every year annually. It's a housing quality standards inspection. We do more than 100 inspections a year, where we'll go, there's 65 units, there's a little bit of turnover, we go out, they always don't pass on the first inspection. We write a letter, we give timeframes to the landlords and say, you need to make these corrections to the unit, or we can no longer pay our portion of the rent, and it always happens. They always make the corrections. So, and we have 2 inspectors, EPA certified for lead paint, and so you may see us driving around. We've got people, boots on the ground here, pretty frequently doing inspections.
So they are inspected before they're occupied, right?
Well, they may be leasing in place, they may already live there, but before they're subsidized, they're inspected.
Do you have people inspecting the tenants too? In other words, if somebody says, I'm here and there's 3 people living there, who does that inspection? Is that you also?
Actually, no. We have a very robust program integrity program, is what we call it, program integrity. And because of our size, we're able to employ a full-time person in this role. He used to work for the New York State Inspector General. And he has worked in, basically, you know, on the side of law enforcement his entire career. And so, one of the things that the inspectors do, I won't talk too much about this, but there are things that inspectors do look that are red flags. Those red flags then get reported to our investigator. And most of the work that he does is a paper case. Because the paper case works out better when we then, if we find out that there's a problem, we've got a good paper case, and we can move to terminate, and then we can move that voucher onto someone else who's on the waiting list.
How do vouchers go out? I mean, do they go out to the village first, or they're advertised, or how does that work?
Okay, so there is significant demand for this program, so we have not had to advertise. Okay, there are. Right now, we have a waiting list, and we have two portions of that waiting list. We have a preference 1 and a preference 2. A preference 1 is somebody who lives or works within the village. Preference 2 is somebody who does not live or work.
Is there guidelines for the time to live in the village to be preference 1?
There are guidelines, and the guidelines say that there can be no time requirements.
So that's,
Those are your guidelines or state guidelines?
That's federal guidelines.
okay.
Yeah, so, so what we do is when somebody applies, that's when our relationship begins. We require a piece of third-party documentation to prove that they live or work within the community. Okay, and so we've got a list of documents. We'll take, you know, one document if it's a certain type of document, or we'll take a couple of documents to prove that they live. At that point, they're given a P1. They then wait on the waiting list. Our waiting list is 4 years long right now.
How many people approximately?
There are 63 people in total. 41 are the P1s, which live or work within the community, and 22 are P2s.
Approximately, of the 65 in the program right now, are they all P1?
They're all P1s.
And I'd like to add that the program is entirely funded through the federal government. There's no use of village funds in support of the program.
And where do you pick up an, not for myself, but for someone that's in dire need, where would you pick up an application? Or is there a
So-
phone number? Is it on the web? Is this, you know, public information?
Locally, you can call the village, and we would connect you with Mastriani's company.
Do you have a website?
We do not, but HUD does. You can go to the HUD website and you can search for housing authorities in your area, and they will give a list of phone numbers and email addresses.
Okay.
There's also the 311, is that what it is? The 311? 211, sorry.
That's
I'm-
okay. 211.
The 211 resource through the phone, you can dial 211. Like 911 is an emergency resource, 211 is a non-emergency resource, and they can get you to our organization as well.
Gentleman in the red shirt has a
So
question.
you are the housing authority,
We technically are
per
not.
se, but I mean, you serve in the same purpose.
Yes, the village is the housing authority, and they have contractually outsourced that function to us. And we work in tandem together to provide the service.
How many times have you found an occupant in recent history to violate the family rule? Where they come in, they rent a place, and all of a sudden there's more people living there than you would have anticipated. Is that a common occurrence or not?
It does happen. It does happen, and at that time, so what we'll do is when we know about it, this is something our inspectors look for. I'm going to tell you how, but it is something our inspectors look for. And it is certainly something, you know, we want involvement with the community. So if there's somebody, if you see something that isn't quite up to snuff, give us a call, and my integrity coordinator, that's part of his job, is to man our hotline. So yes, and so what we will do is if there is extra people living in the unit, we will determine who they are. we will determine what their income is, then we will go back in time and determine how long they've been there. We'll recalculate what the subsidy's supposed to be, and based on HUD's best practices, we will then offer them a repayment agreement. Because we would like to make the program whole. Okay, so you'll enter into a repayment agreement, and your subsidy can continue. If you do not abide by the terms of that repayment agreement, then you're terminated from the program. So we have had some repayment agreements here,
That's correct.
and they have done pretty well, haven't they?
Yes.
Where people have paid us.
The HUD rents right now for Highland Falls, for 4, 3, and 2 bedrooms. What are they?
Okay, so, let me find my right piece of paper. Again, a lot of numbers. HUD sets, the way this works is, HUD sets a fair market rent. They go and do a survey, look at all the rents, and say, let's go down to the bottom third. The bottom third is a modest apartment. That's where we're gonna put our rents at, based on bedroom size. That is the maximum amount that we can subsidize. So for a 1-bedroom, it is $984. For a 2-bedroom, it's $1,211. For a 3-bedroom, it's $1,517. This is a number that HUD develops, and it is for the entire Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, Middletown metropolitan statistical area.
And that includes all utilities.
And that includes utilities too. Yep, good point.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Speaking of utilities, it says you update and maintain utility allowance schedules.
Yes.
By that, do you mean you help residents apply for HEAP and other services?
Yes, but that's not what that means.
I say yes. That is one of the things that we do, keep applications and any kind of subsidy, the care and share programs. You have a couple of different utilities down here, so we have a working relationship with both. So from the family self-sufficiency side, your read of that is what we do from the Section 8 side.
What that means is, so if you rent an apartment and utilities are not included, okay, we need to then make some type of estimate of what those utilities would be. So every year, we hire a company that goes out and does this nationwide, and they figure out what utility cost estimates would be for a modest apartment, based on bedroom size, based on utility, based on unit type, based on utility type. So if you're an all-electric, single-family home, that is going to be a more expensive utility than a natural gas, older home utility, or a duplex. Let's say that's by example, a duplex, because the duplex shares a common wall. So we have a schedule of estimates that then get applied to your subsidy.
One more question.
Sure.
You said we have 65 units currently.
Yes.
Who establishes the number? On
Where
what,
does that number come from?
yeah,
Okay.
what basis says village requires 65 units?
So, that was set a long time ago when the application was originally done before we were. And the number is actually higher than that. The number is 85 units. Yeah? 85?
I believe the number's 84.
84. So, 84 units, and then there's an amount of funding that is tied to that. What has happened is that funding for this program has been cut over the past decade. And so even though they'll hold us to this 85, they say, well, you should be able to do 84, the funding doesn't support that. And the funding supports 64. So really what it's based upon is you've got this chunk of change that HUD says, here's the money that you're entitled to. And then we pay it out based upon the incomes of the participants. So if we had many participants with higher incomes, we would have a higher unit count. But given the economic situation over the last 5, 6, 7 years, the incomes of our participants are lower. And so if the income is lower, the subsidy is higher, and then we can help less families. Does that make sense?
It does. We're struggling right now because our census figures say that we're such a wealthy community and we don't qualify for grants. Do you have any independent census figures that would support our need and the fact that we are a financially stressed community?
The thing that I could demonstrate, and I've worked with other communities on this, is that there is significant demand for this program, and that you've got a waiting list of 45 local families already. But other census information, I go to the same source you do when I look at this stuff.
How accessible, at least to the board members, are the locations of Section 8 supported rentals?
You know, that's an internal one. I mean, we provide a report every month.
So we could identify if the majority are, say, within the Main Street corridor?
Yes.
And I can just expand a little bit on what Jim said. Basically, funding is provided by HUD. They determine, based on a nationwide formula, the Village of Highland Falls program is going to receive a certain amount of dollars to support rental assistance for the year. And our job is to maximize the number of participants that can be assisted with the funding that's provided.
How many more Section 8 programs are in Orange County?
Well, first of all, the state runs the county loan program.
Right.
There's one in Newburgh. There's one in Middletown. There's, these are off the top of my head. There's probably a couple more. There's probably a couple more.
What was it? What was the last one?
Middletown.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, I can,
No, I'm just curious if there's a whole lot of them or just a couple.
yeah, I would have to follow. I don't know the
And we could look at the HUD website and
Yeah.
determine the local
HUD
residents in
website.
the county.
The HUD website will
Give
tell
me
you
that
that in
information.
2 seconds.
Okay.
But if you looked at the town of Highlands, they wouldn't qualify, right?
Yeah, according to the census figures, we have a very high median household income.
Right.
And, you know, there's a real disparity.
There's a disconnect.
Yeah.
Right. Other questions?
We're coming up on renewal at the end of the month.
Yes.
My question is, the board is just, we didn't have enough time last year to really look at anything. We did have you down and we appreciate it. We're trying to get comfortable with everything that we're doing.
Sure.
And this is one of the programs. My question is, would you be able to do a 3 to 6 month extension of your program now to give us time to look over everything, a little more time? So I wish we could do everything you do. Because I wish that whole program, I think that was one of the greatest things when you guys came out the first time. The program you can graduate out of.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could transfer you more money, as you said, right now you're maxed out on what you can do. I think that should be the program, there shouldn't be another program. You know, other than, seniors and disabled, different story. But everyone else should be in the program. And, because you should be working toward it, just to self-sufficiency. And that's why, that's a phenomenal program you guys run. We have a lot on our plate over the last 6 months and haven't had time to really delve into it. And when I was looking through the schedules, noticing we're coming up on another renewal, I just wanted to do my due diligence for the community. One, so I can continue to let them know what you're doing, because that program is phenomenal. But also to let them know that we are doing the best for our community. So we'll talk on the phone later, but are you okay with an extension before the renewal?
That sounds
And then we can do that after we have more,
Yes.
back, because I know we've asked actually more questions than I thought tonight. But I would like to get just clarification on a few things and be able to make, we can make it, you don't have to come down again, because I know it's a trek, but be able to make a second report in like a month or so to the community of, we've looked at it, this is a great thing, they're doing this, they're doing that, and even delve into a little bit more of a report that you already sent, which I have been going through, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate it, thank you.
Well, we can provide any information that you request. well, I'm a computer geek, so we love.
Don't say it like it's a bad thing.
We love,
Your age,
we love,
your
we
age.
love, we love statistics, we love numbers, we love counting this stuff. Certainly, one of the things that, we do this in a lot of communities. We work in a lot of small villages. We have found that this community, from the management side, is very, very easy to work with. And so that has worked out very well. We have a wonderful staff in the front office. Also, we really like the participants here. This is a great village, a great community to work with. And we were actually, as we were driving down, Nancy can tell personal stories about the people that she and her staff works with. And even to the point where, a lot of times they'll meet certain areas and the children will come and Nancy will take the children aside and we'll read a book to them. So the mother can speak one-on-one with another one of our coordinators. I think it's very important. It's a good program. We're able to fill the program. We think it does a lot of good in the community, and we think that a lot of the participants know participants are working. They're folks who are working, and just having been able to get to that next step. And so we want to continue working with you. You're our farthest point. And so it is certainly, we travel a lot down here, but we want to continue working with you very, very deeply from the bottom of our hearts. And also we certainly always appreciate the business.
How many years, well, you mentioned your computer expertise. Can you generate reports that would show how many years each family has been on the program?
That is actually the report that the mayor had requested us. Now, also understand, some folks have been on the program for a long time. There's some elderly and disabled folks who have been on a long, long time. And there is no mechanism to put in any type of.
And you don't want to.
Yeah.
That was one of the, and I didn't want to keep going, but that was one of the things where there are separate assistance programs like this for the elderly. Why I would never want to, if anything, I want to increase that to make sure the elderly, because a couple personal stories here where we weren't able to help and it just kills you, So that's something we never would want to touch. It's basically your 6%, and you're down to 6% of non-working, non-elderly.
Yes. And
That's the key.
Yes, and that number a couple of years ago was higher.
I imagine.
Yeah, and we're seeing that number decrease.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, everyone.
Excellent. We're going to touch some. I'm gonna say it's not. I don't know if I have one. It's just like mine. I'm keeping moving this way. We, also under discussion, we do have, we are working on the cell tower, law. We are still working on that. We should have, something final for you for the next meeting. I do want to mention, because it was in my notes, I didn't want to forget, tomorrow, as Charlie had mentioned, Jason Jones is being buried at West Point. There are people that are going to gather from the west, from Thayer Gate to McDonald's, to create an honorary flag line for him and his family that are coming through. And that is projected to be between 1 and 1:30. For anyone in the community tomorrow, for anyone in the community that would like to join people down between Thayer Gate and McDonald's to honor Jason Jones for his service.
I think it may be earlier tomorrow.
Earlier, that's what I had from
It's around noon, yeah.
around noon.
Noon, 1 o'clock, you're right, it's in that.
Oh yeah, but you don't want to miss it. So the information I had was 1, but you're saying noon? Okay, noon. Noon. So just
The earliest.
swing by one of the local eateries, have some lunch, hang out around noon, and that's for those people that want to help honor Jason Jones. Okay, moving on to new business. I need a motion to approve the minutes as written, regular meeting, June 2nd, 2014. I have a motion, Mr. Brown, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I need a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with the energy curtailment specialist. It's what we've been looking at for the last couple of weeks. The wording on the contract is good for everyone, I believe. Do I have a motion?
So moved with the new
Charlie,
wording.
yes. Charlie Murphy, second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mellon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I need a motion to approve the demolition bid of 109 Center, Boyce Excavating, $47,280.
Make that motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I need a motion to appoint the Bog Meadow caretakers for the year 2014-2015. You have those in your packet?
Yes, I do.
Do I have a motion?
A motion.
We're gonna
adding-
go with that, I got you. Do I have a second? You want questions, right?
Oh, I just want to make sure that we're adding Larry Randall.
You got it.
Okay.
Do I have a second? Do I have a
Oh,
second?
second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I'll just, the caretakers are Angelo Tessellini, Randy Mesh, James Ramus, Bill Barron, Fred Herman, Dave McCutcheon, and Larry Randall. I need a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a renewal for the EPA program at a cost of $1,750 for the year 2014-2015. You have that in your packet. Do I have a motion? Remember, we can motion and second and then questions, and then it can be brought down. I have a motion, Mr. Brown. Do I have a second?
I'll second. with-
Questions?
Um,
Charlie?
No, what does it cover?
What does the EPA service agreement cover?
Yeah.
Gina?
All employees and their families, if they have concerns that they want to bring to a private place, the health,
Yeah.
mental health benefit, for them to go and discuss any private issues they may have or their family member may have. And it's a benefit for our employees that is at a minimal cost, actually. And it's also available to the board here or department heads. If they have an employee they feel might need some counseling or something beyond them in a situation of privacy being needed. If anyone uses the program, it's totally confidential. We don't know who. We just know numbers of people that have taken part in the program. And they'll recommend for that employee if they need to go further into any other issues. So,
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I have a request, I need a motion for the request from the fire department, for the fire department carnival. The request is for water from Road Park.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Yeah, they're actually having it on Thicken, so they're getting that permission from the school. They're asking us to utilize the water because there is none at Thickens for what they need. I have a second. Questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I need a motion to approve the probation completion of part-time officer Mario Triani's. It's close.
Close enough.
Do I have a motion?
We do.
I have a second from Mr. Brown. Yeah, all right, I'll take that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to approve the probation completion of part-time dispatcher Michael Murphy.
So moved. No relation, but
We'll check into that, don't worry. I have a second by Mr. Mellon. Questions? All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? So moved. We have several budget transfers. As you look through your packet at all the budget transfers, do I have a motion to approve the budget transfers?
Yes.
Do them individually, please.
Do I have a second?
Individually?
Please.
Listen, Charlie, I can hear. I didn't hear what you said. Yes, of course we'll do them individually. From account 235-00045 to account 601607927. Can I get a motion? And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Before I have to ask for each one, if there's any individual one you have a problem with, just shout out. I need a motion to approve the budget transfer 235-00037 to account 601607927 to the water fund of the general fund in the amount of $13,730.06. Motion.
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Opposed? I need a motion to approve the budget transfer 601607927 to account 066026776 from the general fund to depository trust. Do I have a motion?
You do.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That was trustee Murphy and trustee Miller. Do I have a motion to approve the budget transfer from account 601607927
That,
to account,
that one is just an informational one?
just
for you all?
informational,
Next
to
page.
account 066, I'm on a roll, 066026776. That is just informational. The next transfer that I need approval for is from account 235200037 to account 601607927, and that is from the water fund to the general fund.
Make that motion, make transfer of funds.
Trustee Mellon, second.
Second.
Trustee Brown. I need a motion to approve the budget transfer from account 235200045 to account 601607927, and that's from the sewer fund to the general fund. Motion.
Okay.
Second.
So,
All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. I need a motion to approve the budget transfer from account 601607927 to account 066027306 from the general fund to the depository trust. Do I have that motion? Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Informational. Moving on to the final transfer. I need a motion to approve the transfer from account A1990.1990 to account A1910.0400. And that is from the contingency to the unallocated insurance contingency. That's to cover the renewal. I have a motion, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Brown. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. In your packet, you have a request from the village clerk's office requesting training for Margaret Lewis to attend the regional user conference for the KVS computer software in Middletown, June 25th, from 8:30 to 4 o'clock. A $35 registration and mileage reimbursement.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions? It's excellent training. It's very good that we're sending some. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to approve the bills and claims for the year 13-14 in the amount of $8,085.66. Mr. Brown, do I have a second?
You do?
Mr. Mellon, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So move. I need a motion to approve the bills and claims for the year 14-15 in the amount of $214,660.92. Do I have a motion? Mr. Brown, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Public comment.
My name is Wayne Kocher. I have new information on cell towers, cell phones, and Wi-Fi that I'd like to use. This one being the most important, which is very positive, how you can live safer with the devices you have. You were able to make copies of this very.
Yes.
But this year I have copies of another more each.
Thank you.
Also, an environmentalist a lot of years, and I was at the Strawberry Festival yesterday over on Beacon, which Pete Seegers puts on. And I spoke a lot about the harmful conditions that happen to the river through our sewage systems. A lot of people, as they get treated with radiation for cancer, the sewage plants can't filter this. A lot of the new medications are synthetic, they can't be filtered either. A lot of the cotton that is grown in China, pesticides are sprayed on it, which can't be washed out. A lot of the reindeer from overseas, it gets broken down in our sewage system and it's killing the plankton and krill, which are needed for everything to survive. So we need to think wisely about this, and the biggest thing hitting the river is sprawl. So when you see these condos, or like Mr. Dotson started Corbin Hill, that was a variance that people allowed to be changed. It was a terrible thing.
He actually built fewer units.
It was gonna be 28 units with a little strip mall. That was supposed to be probably 14 homes, what it was zoned for.
And the town has
And we're up to
increased the number.
70 now. I lost my well. During drought conditions, I have no well. I have the money to go deeper. I'm advised not to, because as lead was contaminates in all our soils, the children that actually play down in the city, there's so much lead in the soils, a 2-year-old can have a learning disability just from that soil. That's how bad it is. So then they went to MTBEs, which you know from our Sunoco situation, that's hit so many things. My friend spent over $10,000 on a well, it's not usable. So this was all thanks to a variance change. Don't do the same. If you don't have the property that works, you sell it and buy the property that works. Because somebody little like myself and other well owners get hit with this. People think that by sticking straws in the ground for water, like Corbin Hill originally started with, that's a great idea. Well, when you had a well that went to a septic, the water returns back to the aquifer, is filtered through the earth. This all goes through your sewage systems. That's not drinking water by any means. So we really want to even put moratoriums on buildings. There's enough empty homes throughout this country. There's enough foreclosed real estate in the commercial grades, record-setting buildings. We don't need new malls. We need things restored, and we need more trees than ever. A perfect example is Woodbury Common. They took out thousands of trees. Thousands. That makes the oxygen we all need. Then they put in oil burners, air conditioners, Walmart and Target located as a big enough draw, and Home Depot, and here they come. So our air quality is failing all the time. Poughkeepsie got a C one time and Ulster got a D. All the rest are Fs. Children with upper respiratory problems, asthma, just on the rise, unbelievable. When I'm up on the mountain helping them with the hawk counts, you have the LA effect. Certain days there's a fog, water, air temperature that makes fog, that's normal. But your normal looking at the city is the LA smog, and that's what's coming. So we really want to be concerned. If you get a fishing syllabus, women and children of childbearing age should eat nothing from the river and nothing in New York State, period. So we got a lot of work to do if you want to give these kids a future. So one day at a time, educating the people, we can make changes. Less is more. Smaller is better. We've gotten to a level where lupus, Crohn's, I mean, all these diseases are on the rise. Cancer in 1950 was 1 in 30. Right now, it's 1 in 2 males, 1 in 3 women. Everybody knows somebody with cancer. We're causing all this with the chemicals, the pollution, the overbuilding. And if you want to leave your children and grandchildren something, which is why I do what I do, you might want to hear what I'm saying. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I did talk to Deborah Copal, she was here the other meeting as well, about an awareness day, which I think is still a great idea and something that we may want to look into, possibly also at the farmers markets. Is a good opportunity to get more information out about how to be positive in these areas. Okay?
Very good. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes. Oh, wait, I got some behind you. I was gonna say, you're not taking off that one, no.
I just had a quick question about the 109 Center Street. So
Yes.
negotiations with the bank fell through?
There were no negotiations with the bank, they've never.
The bank never,
Nope.
okay. And as far as the bidding process, that was a complete bid process, these were the lowest bidders?
The only bidder.
The only bidder. Are they local?
No.
Where are they from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
If they're, so, but what was it, advertised in the newspaper or?
Yes.
Okay. And when is it supposed to start?
Well, once we've approved the bid, I've checked with the engineer. I'm not-
Once they've approved the bid, then the engineer will move forward and contact the contractor, and they'll get a agreement together, and
So does that mean the bank can't step in at the, I know you were afraid from another property that the bank will step in at the last minute.
I would love the bank to step in and actually pay for what they need to pay for. I would have
Right.
loved for Dan to be able to take the property. I actually talked to Dan, who was the gentleman who was trying to get it for the last 2.5, 3 years.
Right.
He actually kind of put his hands up over the last several weeks and said, I've been doing everything I can to get the bank to respond, and they're not. So he can't even put any more effort in because he's got the things on his plate. He's moving forward to other properties that will work with him. So he's done
That's why I
everything
was
he
confused.
can.
I thought, didn't he want to do the demolition?
He wants,
on it?
no. He wanted to rebuild it. He wanted to.
Right, but I thought he also said he would demo it.
Several of the people that put in the first bid, when we put out the full bid, several of the contractors dropped out because of the size of what had to be done.
But, like I say, can the bank, like if you determine a date that there's going to be demolition, can the bank still come that last?
If they went and had a pile of money and said, here, take this cash, no checks, then something could be done, but no, at this point, we're tearing the building down.
Okay, thank you.
I'll never say no to you. She got up before you again, we got, oh, she's going. Did you,
Actually, I
you're
want to
kind of
call
motioning.
maybe, yeah.
Because if you don't motion right now, I'm closing.
No, go ahead. You start.
Any other-
with that to-
Yes. Again,
All right.
I'm back to the jukebox situation. I just need a little more clarifying as to, oh, here we go again, it's getting to sound.
Those are the rules.
No,
Gotta get up.
No, I'm fine with that. As you know, it's getting to sound a little old with me here representing the jukebox situation. As Paul mentioned to me earlier, we had a conversation that, again, back 5 years ago when I did disclosure and I put an application in, the State Liquor Authority was well aware of the fact that I was doing business with a live entertainment / jukebox / patio. It's all a part of the cost to do business in the state of New York. I pay for that. My business is covered. So again, I'm back to, what is the purpose of the jukebox / entertainment? And we kind of had a little bit of discussion about that, so it's still not clear. Because I'm paying January, June, I actually looked at a permit, I paid for a permit in October, the year of, I bought the bought the building 2008 of September. In January of 2009, I received a bill from the Village of Highland Falls that I needed to pay $50 for a jukebox. I had a shell, I didn't have a business, I didn't know what wall was going to be erected in order to hang a jukebox, or whether or not I was even going to entertain a jukebox with DirecTV. I could pay for it, which I do, internet service to have background music for entertainment. So in January, as I said, the building was a shell, but I did pay the $50 for a jukebox of 2009 in January, but I opened the door on May 1st of 2009. Okay, so again, I paid for what, and where does that go, and who determines that? And I understand back in the day, in 1964, so, you know, cigarette machines / jukebox were kind of working together. That's when we had maybe 25 bars. There was a lot of action going on. A lot going on at West Point, summer troopers, people, Lady Cliff College, so I can understand the police wanting to maybe oversee certain establishments because there were so many. Maybe the crowd was unruly, the music was loud, you know, a lot of things were going on. So now here we are, 2014, we pretty much know what the New York State Liquor Authority expects of us in business because they have the authority. Not so much you, they would come into conference with you and our police department if there is more activity than what should go on. Because when we sign up for that state liquor license, it's already disclosed that there's a certain protocol that they hold us to, that we are responsible for the jukebox, the noise, the traffic, the flow of people, anything in and around 500 feet or 200 feet, that's on us. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I go back to the jukebox. I own the building, I own the business. I have no contract with the Village of Highland Falls, none whatsoever. If the jukebox breaks down, I call my contractor, he comes up, he fixes it, okay? Again, I already paid for that through a liquor license. I paid for it through an operator's permit with the town, an operator's permit with the state of New York, a building inspection / again, another permit. So if you can just tell me what is the purpose of a jukebox fee / entertainment? I'm okay with that. If I have ZZ Tops, Rolling Stones coming to town, I'm gonna come in here and disclose to you who's coming, hour of operation, security, whatever, parking issues, how many people I expect, food, no food, open buffet, whatever. The point that I'm making, I have no problem coming to you for an entertainment permit. But to do everyday business, especially now that we're down to maybe 3 or 4 or 5 businesses, is it to make more money for the village? Are you gonna come up and repair it? Are we in business? Because I'm in business with Time Warner Cable. I'm in business with Touch Tones for downloading the music. And the fella that actually owns and operates the equipment, you have no idea who he is. You don't know if he's organized crime. You don't know if he's from Timbuk, Nebraska. Who is he? You know me, but New York State knows me. Because I told them 5 years ago, I came before the board, told them what I was going to do. I gave everyone a chance to say, listen, we don't want a bar here. We've already had one for 40 years. We're done with that. Not one person had an issue. I go into business, boom, boom, boom. Domino effect. You know, I could barely get my head up. And then in one year, I should bring up, and I would be more than happy to show it to you, in the year of 2012, I had 3 entertainment applications or whatever, permits that I paid for. Go figure that. You know, unless you're right on it, and unless you're, you know, overseeing it with it's a lot of paperwork. So if it's just me that's having an issue with it, then you just explain to me what is the purpose of you, the village, having to be a part of my entity, because like I said, you don't repair it. Why do you feel that I have to spend $50 or, you know, $100 a year to have a jukebox in a place that I own and operate, and that's my entity? You know, if a peddler comes to town and he wants to sell, you know, a bushel of tomatoes, and he's gonna go house to house, or Swanson, I just saw a meat guy today. Really? You have a permit? Oh no, I'm just passing through. But he's delivering. Good for you. Good for you. You're making a buck on the village because they don't know you. Just today.
Oh, I believe he did come through. Just to let you know
Yes.
that we're actually reviewing this right now, and there have been several recommendations made. It shouldn't be a long-term
I just need to
review.
know if I need to know
We are
1
looking
month.
into it.
Is
We're
it
looking into
January?
it.
Is it June? Is it October?
Not to worry, that's exactly what we're addressing. You've made questions clear, and though sometimes it's, you know, it takes us a while to get, not us, I'm saying it takes you a while to let us know.
And I just need to know one other thing.
Hold on.
All right. I get on a
It's
roll.
I know you do.
And Paul might have a few things, he might want to answer that.
Here's the thing, I appreciate your coming up and questioning, because it's, we were discussing it as far as, with as many codes there are, sometimes it takes a problem to review a code, because there's codes that, have been in existence at the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, that, this board, again, being semi-brand new, just went ahead and reviewed the recreation agreement from 1982. That was the last time it was looked at. So we are updating and upgrading a lot of different codes, agreements, the whole nine. This one is not just on a list. This is something we're dealing with actively right now. There's already been some discussion on it, and hopefully within the next couple meetings, we'll not only have answers, but bettering the process itself. Just to give you a quick, we have discussed, nothing's been set in stone, of once a year, everything, both, that's it. It's not gonna be this time, this time, this time, this time. One price, once a year, for everything, to make it simple. And you're right, that is confusing, I don't know why. I don't know why it was separated, but here's the thing. There probably was a reason back in the day, it hasn't been reviewed, we're reviewing it now. Those are some of the recommendations that are in the air, up for discussion. And as soon as we make those changes, or here or there, we are gonna let you know.
Okay, because I was told from the previous board back in the day that the purpose of the jukebox tax / permit was so that it gave the police control over coming in and shutting your jukebox down. To me, I find that's a little ridiculous, because if anyone knows about the length and disclosure with that state liquor authority, you need to tell them who you are. So it tells you very clearly that if there's an issue with noise, police activity constantly coming to your place of premise, they are the ones that will put sanctions on a bar to shut you down after they reviewed it with the community board.
Right.
Okay, so
But that, as with several other areas, and I understand exactly what you're saying, several other areas of government, you do have a law possibly at state level, and you also have, that's what our, the local laws are. They're so that we can do things at the local level when needed, particularly when the state may not respond as quick, or they need to go through 20 different processes before dealing with something, and we have a situation now that has to be dealt with. That's what these laws help us do. Not to say all our laws are fantastic the way they are, because some are outdated.
Right.
And over the last several years, I know some laws have been, whether they've been thrown out, modified, changed, or left in place because they're needed for what the community believes. So just to reiterate, we are working on it now. We're not talking a year, we're not talking 6 months, we're talking very soon. This is not a huge thing that we can't deal with a couple of minutes from the board to rectify what I think is just something that needs to be updated.
Right.
But any other areas that people find that are issues, they can be changed, they can be modified, because this is not the same community from 1980, 1960, and 1940. There are different needs, and there are different things we can do to help the community. So if you, particularly business people or any other people, come across a problem in the codes or the laws, feel free to come to us, as you guys have, and finally you will, hopefully you will get something on this particular item. And I appreciate it.
yes, because I had my share of 5 years, police, da-da-da-da-da. You want me to go on? Probably not.
Nope.
So believe me,
But I
there's not
did.
one entity in this village that's only being in trouble. I have no issues now, believe me when I say it. But then
One
FOIL
quick
report does
note
help.
I'd like to just ask
Stand up,
is,
Paul.
no, I've already stood up, they all know who I am, I got the yellow shirt on. If it's an entertainment permit, does that include all, like the fire department, who is nonprofit, does it include,
That is one of
July committee?
That's one of the things we're looking into right now.
That was my big issue, was to
Not a
find
problem.
out.
Does it include you?
Huh?
Does it include you?
From what I understand from the law, it pertains to establishments, not individual. Like if someone's playing guitar on the side of the street, it's not, he's walking down, if he has his Walkman and it's too loud, he didn't have to go get a permit. But again, these are things that we can address at the local level. When I read the law, it's for the establishments, not the entertainment that's coming in. They don't need the permit, the establishments need the permit to have the entertainment in. So no. Anyway, any other, yes,
Yeah, is this a once a year permit?
hopefully
We
we'll
plan to
be.
have jazz night once a week.
Yes, right now, the live entertainment is a year, jukebox is twice a year. It's $100 for live entertainment, it's 50, spin it.
Spin.
The
Jukebox is once a year, live entertainment is twice a year. It's $50 each for the live entertainment, $100 for the jukebox. So basically, you're looking at, it's $150 total,
No, it's 50 for the jukebox.
right?
And it would be 50, split the live entertainment, 50 for the first half of the year, 50 for the second.
So it's
half.
$150 if you want coverage for the entire year.
Oh, so I have credit.
Well, actually, the
Okay.
three bills, when you told me that, I actually looked back, because it's twice a year for the live entertainment, that's why you had three bills. You paid the you paid the jukebox once, and live entertainment twice, so that would be three. Now, whether they sent you one for the following years, like one bill for both, what we're gonna, bottom line, we're gonna simplify it. I can tell you that right now, and it's gonna be very shortly. It'll be simplified, and it'll be very easy to figure out, and you will know what's going on. And again, this is something we inherited, that we're taking care of, and we're going to make it better.
Is there any way we can eliminate a portion of it?
There's always possibilities in this country, and that's why I love living here. Can't do that in Russia. Any other comments? No?
Just a quick
Seriously?
update on
So
the
close.
escort, it's important.
Okay.
I just got word that the SP may be leaving Matamoros, Pennsylvania at 10:45, so it takes us a little under an hour to get here,
Right.
so possibly right before 12 o'clock. They're still trying to work things out with the Patriot Guard, so.
And we have a lot of traffic at that bridge out too.
Thank you so much, Kenny, that's excellent.
I'll text you as soon as I get something.
Good to go. Keep an eye on the alert.
You wanna put out an
We'll
alert?
put out an e-alert, and again, that's a good reason to pump up the e-alerts. Our e-alerts are like the reverse 911. Reverse 911?
Similar.
Yeah.
You just gotta sign up
Similar.
for it. And it's
But
free.
you have to sign up for it in the village. Can they sign up in Fort Montgomery?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the entire town can sign up. These e-alerts are when we send out if a road's closed, if there's a break in a sewer, if there's a problem, we don't want you to go to a certain area, these e-alerts are sent out. Also, we're using them more for informational purposes and things like that, so the community is more informed. If you're not signed up, you will not get one. You sign up
On the website.
on the
On
website.
the homepage.
So go to the website, www.highlandfallsny.org, highlandfallsny.org. Go to the website anyway, because there's so much information on the website, you really need to check it out. And if you're not on the website, you need to get a local paper. More informed, the better in this community, bottom line. It's time to participate, it's time to get involved. I would love to see a ton of people down at Thayer Gate, to McDonald's, for a send-off for Mr. Jones.
And that suggestion box, I was just wondering where that was erected. So I haven't yet.
That's a great question. Where is the
Back.
suggestion box? It's in the back.
Ooh,
I'll bring it up to the front. That's what I'm gonna do. The suggestion
is it in
box.
the back? Back of what, the storage unit or?
It's in the back.
Oh, the back of the village? Oh, that's-
Village Hall?
Ah, I mean, that's-
I have one in my office. It's beautiful. You'll love it.
I'm collecting them, Max, actually, so we got one.
It will be up there shortly. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
A motion to go into executive session to discuss specific individuals and personnel matters. I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor? All opposed? So moved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, you will.